Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk with Dr. Greg. We have a very special guest in the house. We have Sanjay here. I competed with Sanjay here for a number of years, and I can tell you he has been one of the best when it comes to 4x4 for Jamaica. He has won um, two Olympic medals, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I should say he was on the same Olympic team in 2000. We finished second overall. He won a world championship medal in 2007. So when it comes to winning medals, he is not a stranger to that. When it comes to mentoring athletes at the highest level, he's not a stranger to that. And when it also comes to promoting a track meet, building it from scratch, he's also not a stranger to that. How are you, Sanjay? Here, welcome to Let's Talk with
Hey,
Greg.
hey, Greg, thanks for having me on your program. It's been a while, we wanted to get on this platform, but, we haven't been able to get around to it. I think this is the perfect opportunity with the perfect situation to be on.
And
So thanks for having me.
yes, and I it's a perfect opportunity because we see a lot that is going on now with our 4x4 and Jamaica not making it after so many years. And a lot of people are somewhat upset about the fact that Jamaica won't be represented in the mile relay. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm very devastated, just like you, we've been a part of the 4x4 legacy for many, many years. I know we've been through a couple Olympic cycles together, world championship cycles together. You have been there before me, and you are one of the athletes that I look up to that helped to build the rich tradition of our 4x4 relays. Um, I didn't know how much it hurt after actually watching what transpired in the National Stadium last Sunday, and it was very hurtful to see that's the rich legacy of our program that's been around for decades. That we're going to be missing. The relay at the Olympics. I think this is probably the first miss since the 1940s. So I didn't take it too lightly. I have reserved how I felt in the moment. I wanted to give myself some time because when it just happened and the days prior after it happened, I was very angry and I didn't want to come out and speak publicly while angry. So I wanted to calm down a bit and gather my thoughts before I came, and spoke publicly. And I'm just happy to be here.
Well, I appreciate you did that because I too was extremely angry. I was there live and I saw what was going on and I heard the talks from some of the executives that were actually in the stands. And I empathize with them, Sanjay, because I think that, in my opinion, based on what I heard, that the J3A did everything that they could to make it easier for the athletes. And you had an athlete there who he was at a disadvantage because based on what the J3 did to put the guys in a position where they could have the best chance to qualify. And what do I mean? I mean that some of the guys had to do 3 rounds, but the top tier guys, especially the ones who choose not to participate, they only had two, putting some of those other guys at a major disadvantage. Did you think that was the right thing in terms of what they wanted to do and the outcome that they wanted for the team to qualify on a whole?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Gregory, it's always country first. It's always been a pleasure, and I could tell you this as a sportsman. You're a sportsman also. The greatest honor you could have is wearing your national colors. So country always come first for me, regardless if I'm getting paid, if I'm not getting paid. It's just always an honor. And my athlete in particular, Anthony Cox. He didn't have the privilege of only getting to run 2 rounds. The federation, they changed the schedule to facilitate the 4x4. And even though I know he would have been at a slight disadvantage in the 400, I wanted them to put the country first. Anthony, he ran 3 rounds of 400 meters, and then he came out and made himself available for the 4x4. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
he never once questioned, coach, should I pull out? Should I this? Should I that? He wanted the team to qualify, even though he might not have an opportunity of running at the Olympic Games. He made himself, available. And I just wish, I'm not here to bash the other quarter milers or the other 400-meter hurdlers that were involved, but I just want them to know that this is your legacy. You're not doing this for a coach. You're not doing it for the J3. You're doing it for yourself. How you represent yourself throughout your career. And when your career is over, you'll be able to look back and said, I had an opportunity to win an Olympic medal. I had an opportunity to participate. So,
Sanjay,
I've been hearing a lot of people say, yeah.
I won. I can't count now, but I would say maybe 10 of my top tier medals were on the relay team.
Yes.
The World Championships, we had a lot, and all the other medals from the Olympics and the Pan American Games and the Goodwill Games and so on. And it appears to me that some people believe that winning medals for your country in the relay, that it is not as precious. Do you agree with that? Because the athletes, in my opinion and in my time, I got paid for every single medal that I won, individual and relay medals. But there seemed to be an
Yeah.
argument to say that the relay medals are not as valuable as the individual medal, and I totally disagree
No,
with that
no,
statement. How do you feel
that's
about
that
that?
that's well, that's not true. That's rubbish. And I'm going to give you guys two analogies. Two analogies that we could relate to as athletes, and two analogies that we could relate to as fans. Number one, when we think about the greatest Olympians of all times throughout all sports, the first thing we do is count medals, how many medals they have. When we look at Bolt, when we look at Michael Phelps, all those guys, all their medals collectively, that's what people talk about. They talk about how many medals they have allocated in the Olympic space, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is from a business perspective, because I've done a lot of business with shoe companies. I've done a lot of business for athletes that want to get contracts. I could tell you verbatimly, and I've heard it in the space, oh, you don't get paid for relays. It's not a big deal if you're running a relay at the Olympics. It's not true. When you look at a contract, at a shoe contract, one of the biggest bonuses in a shoe contract is relay participation in the finals. Whether it's at the Olympic Games or whether it's at a World Championship, you do get a relay bonus if you participate in the finals. So from just a business perspective, how could a coach or how could anyone say the relay is not necessary? It doesn't make any sense.
So do you think that?
And to know that people who are go
Go
ahead,
ahead, go ahead,
Greg.
man. I'll let you finish.
No, I mean to think that professional people who are in our space is putting that type of rhetoric out. It's simply not true. It's not true, and I'm willing to challenge anyone who think otherwise. It's not true. It's financially lucrative and beneficial for our athlete to participate in the relay finals at the World Championship and at the Olympics because it's in the shoe contract. It might not be in every shoe contract, but if your manager negotiate it, it's there. And then just from a legacy standpoint, some athletes like myself, I wasn't in the position to win an individual medal at the Olympic Games in a flat event. I had the privilege to win a relay medal. And quite frankly, once you're outside of the sport, once you're retired, The average person who you meet, they don't care if you want a relay medal in the 1 or the 4. All they care about if you're Olympian or if you're a medalist. I have done so much business, and I've got so much business from being an Olympian and an Olympic medalist. And a lot of these guys, athletes, listen to me, secure your legacy. Don't let any coach, don't let any manager, don't let any outside people tell you not to participate in a relay, because it might not be beneficial to you, or it's going to hurt you. It might get you injured. If we approach the sport thinking that we're going to get injured in the moment, the sport is not for you. You know what I mean?
So,
Prepare and put yourself in the best position to be successful. And yeah, relay medals count. Believe
so do
it.
you think it's that the athletes are not fully aware, they're not fully informed of the value that comes with being on the relay? Why you think they made such a selfish decision? Because people say selfish. I understand from both angles because I was there. But do you think if they understood the legacy that we have as Jamaican, and the fact that it would benefit them later on down the road, that they may have think twice before they made that decision not to
Greg, I've
participate?
I've thought I've thought about that question and that you just put forward, and I think it's three components that contributes to that. One, I think the younger generation need to know more about the legacy of what we have built as a country as it relates to track and field. The legacy of the 4x4. The 4x4 has been the most successful relay for Jamaica up until Bolt and Asaf and them started winning the 4x1 at the 2008 Olympics. Rich tradition with Herb McKinley and all those guys for the 4x4. Number two, I see that the younger generation of athletes and just young people in general, they tend to follow what their peers do. So it might have been a domino effect of one guy pull out and they say, oh, because my friend now run, I'm not going to go out there also. You know what I mean? So they tend to follow what each other do, where they want to go, who they're going to coach with, what they want to do, and they follow each other. And then the third thing that I contribute to this happening is just pure politics on the part of something might be going on with the federation and coaches, people in that circle, and there might be people who just didn't want to see the whole situation be successful. And those are the three things that I think might have contributed to the guys not going out there and run.
I heard that a lot of the coaches did not make their athletes available initially when the team wanted to qualify. I get it. And it also appears that the maybe the young athletes didn't know much about the legacy, but I'm sure that the older coaches are fully aware of the legacy, the rich legacy of 400 meters and the mile relays. I'm asking this question for conversation purposes now. The J3 said that they did everything they could initially. They reached out to a lot of the coaches, managers, etc., etc. And because people weren't receptive to what they were saying, they end up now were put in a position where they just have to pick who were available. What could the J2A do? Let's say in the perfect situation, what could they have done to encourage some of the best athletes to make themselves available so something like this never happened again?
Okay. To answer your question, Greg, I don't know what they could have done. I think they did the best to create that situation at the trials by opening the bleachers so the fans could come in, putting up $1 million, doing everything they could do. I think they did the best they could do on that day in the moment. What I do suggest they do for the future, so this never happens again, I think as a federation, we need to put rules in place so we have the best athletes available at the World Relays. And even if we don't have the best athletes available at the World Relays, we need to, gather a pool of athletes, have a pool of athletes, maybe the top 30 athletes for each individual event, and tell them that, hey, listen, if you're not available for the world relays, you won't be considered for the pool for the Olympic relays or the World Championship relays when it's time for the pool, and if they're not available in the pool for selection for the world relays, it has to be a situation where you're injured and you could produce a doctor's note, kind of the similar situation that we have at trials. But I tell you, from a managerial perspective, someone who is put on sporting events, track and field sporting events, and in my capacity as a manager, where I manage things at my business, you have to use rules to create some type of fortitude so people don't bail on you on the back end, and I just think moving forward, it's something like that the J3 have to do, put the rules in place. And if the rules are broken, then automatically those athletes just eliminate themselves from the pool of runners who could run on the relay at the Olympics and the World Championships.
Makes sense. I'm getting a little delay from you. I'm not sure if it's the headset or what, but I hopefully my system will phase it out as we go along. A lot of people don't know that the J3As, and I have no affiliation with the J3As other than the fact that I know the people. I have good relationship with a lot of them. So I don't want people to think that because I'm making my point that I am 100% in with the J3As. I think that there are some things that they can do better. But in this case, I must take off my hat to them, because what they did, I wish they had done some things like that for us. It is said that they offered $1 million Jamaican dollars per athlete. I don't know if it's 100% correct or accurate.
No. They offered $1 million in prize money. If the relay qualified. So it would have been $500,000 to the winning team if they had acquired the
I'm not hearing you clear enough. Okay.
Let me put my headphones back in.
So let me kind of put this out there, and then you can address it. It says that they were offered $1 million. You can clarify that. It was said that they were put up in a hotel for the time being. They were offered meals and everything. It was also said that the day when they finished competed individually, that they were given recovery individuals to make sure that they had the proper massage, they had the proper stretching, and everything, adjustment, etc. It was also said that even one of the particular athlete who pulled out, that he had one session alone that was over 3 hours, and he was one of the first to pull out. I'm saying that on that day, or the day leading up to that day, that the J3As did everything that they could to make sure that these athletes were comfortable, and yet the top 3 pulled out. Do you want to shed any light so at least the public have a better idea as to what some of the things that actually occurred and why these guys pull out the way they did?
Yeah, I mean, I would know firsthand, because I had a conversation with the president just leading up with this whole relay saga, and then one happened on the day. And what a lot of people and fans don't realize, a lot of people are saying the J3 this, the J3 that. But what you guys have to understand, we are talking about what happened at the National Stadium the Sunday of the 4x4. That's all we're talking about. What transpired on that day. And I think that's what the fans really need to focus on. Don't worry about the lead up, what happened in Bahamas, what happened at World Relays. We're talking about what happened on the day we're trying to qualify the 4x4, the Sunday at trials. I believe the J3 did everything in their capacity to make sure that the relay was successful. And unfortunately, the powers that be, or the powers that did not be, didn't make the guys available to compete. And I just think it's a travesty, and we have to make sure that this does not happen again. We can't tolerate this type of behavior. And go ahead.
You said something earlier.
Go ahead,
I want you to shed some light on that for us, because I know for sure that if it was in our time, Danny McFarlane, you, myself, Michael McDonald, Chris Williams, we would never ever do something like that. In fact, we wanted the opportunity to perform before our national country, our people. We wanted that opportunity. And when I was there, I looked
Yes.
at the moment and I said it was a perfect opportunity for us to shine. You said that the generation then is different than the generation now. We were patriot regardless of what people might say. We wanted the best for ourselves and our country. But you said that these younger generation are somewhat different. How different are they and why?
Yeah, I mean, they're very different, and we have to be careful, Gregory. We're the OGs. We're the legends of Jamaica 4x4. So when we speak, we don't want the younger generation to feel like we're taking a shot at them. We want you guys to listen and learn. I just feel for the younger generation, they pay more attention to what's going on out in the space. The internet, social media is a big factor. They get to see a lot more than we did. We were just focused on one thing, and it was more the task at hand. They have more distractions, and as I said, they tend to follow what their peers are doing. Um, and unfortunately, man, I just feel like they need to look to some of the people from the past and learn from our experience. Let us share our experience with you guys. Because quite frankly, when you're young, you make decisions when you're young, and sometimes it's not the best decisions. And quite apparently, some of them don't have the right people in their corner to tell them, hey,
I am not hearing you, Sanjay. I don't know. Can you? I'm not hearing you. But you said it that they need to have the right people in their corner. I can attest to that because I know that even for me, sometimes it's
hearing you.
difficult to
Greg, I'm
reach
not
them.
hearing you.
All right, you're not hearing me. All right, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I think maybe your thing need to be charged. I'm not sure if it's you or me. Um, we have some comments here. If anyone can you hear me, please let me know. We have a comment by Chris. He said that enlightened, very informative. We appreciate it. Let's give you some time, Sanjay, to see if you can fix your thing. I'm not sure if it's yours or mine. This person says, on point, these coaches and athletes think they are bigger than the sport. We have another person who Sharon Love. She didn't finish her post. But I'm not sure if you can hear. If you can hear, give me a thumbs up. Let me make sure that it is not coming from my side. If you all can hear me, please send me a message. Can you hear me now, Sanjay? You still can't hear me? I hear some. So Sanjay is going to pull out. So you see, the J3 did everything that they could on that day. And as Sanjay said, they were offered $1 million in prize money. They were put in some suitable accommodation. They were also offered. Get a text from Sanjay. He's coming back. All right, so we wait until Sanjay come back. We also saw where they were provided with physiotherapists and massage therapists and acupuncturists, anything they wanted in that moment. It was said that they were granted that with pleasure. And for them to make a decision like that, I am baffled because I'm trying to wonder what could have transpired for them to make such a decision. So for me, I hope that we can bridge the gap in some ways. And I'm going to ask Sanjay this question since he's back. I am hoping, Sanjay, that based on the things that you just said, that we can bridge the gap between our generation and the younger generation, and for them to know that we are here to make them better. The legacy that they inherited, it is many a time we were the ones who laid the foundation, because when we came on board, we had Herb McKinley and Arthur Wint, who did a fabulous job, and it made it easier for us, even though we had work to do. But based on the tradition, every year we work together for about 10 years, where we won a medal, a relay medal every single year, whether it's an Olympic year, a World Championship year, a Commonwealth Games year, a Pan American. We won in team medals every single time. The question is, because you worked with a couple of the young generation Z that we're talking about, you work with Akeem Bloomfield and Donkey Man and many others. How can we bridge the gap with this younger generation where they see the value to what we have to share?
I think probably us as older former athletes getting to understand this younger generation more. It's still a process for me trying to learn how they think, how they go about things. And I think I'm kind of tapped in a little bit more with them, just because I'm a little bit younger. I'm 44 years old, but I kind of understand the way they think and the things they want to do, the things that are kind of fun for them, and the things that makes them appreciate certain things, but it's a continuous process, you know what I mean? But more than anything else, they have to listen to people who have the experience and just believe and trust the process, that if they trust the process, things are always going to be positive and work out for them,
I have a proposal, and I hope the J3 listening and the JOA and whosoever else, every year what I do, maybe 2-3 times a year, I go to different high schools and I do my presentations, and I try to support the staff, the coaching staff and the administrators. And I was at the track on the Saturday, and I saw a young lady. I always followed her, right? I'm making a point though. And
Yeah.
I went over to her and I told her, I wish her all the best in everything that she's doing. And I've been a fan from ever since. And she said, I remember you. And I said, you remember me? Remember me from when? From where? And she said, you came to Heidel in 2019 and you did a presentation. And that's how I remember you. It was Cherokee Young.
Yes,
and I was like, whoa, I didn't remember that you were a part of the crop. So what I'm suggesting is that the J3A should use individuals like ourselves who have something to offer. I'm doing it without the J3 or the GOA or any other federation, because it's a pleasure of mine to go around and to make these presentations and try to connect with the younger generation. And I open myself up to questions. But I believe that it must be done at a higher level with the federations, because it is in their best interest and the athletes' best interest, where they can see programs that cater to them, program that they can get. And I can tell you this, one of the things I see is that when I go in my own private session with them, some of the things that they are saying to me is telling me that they really need people that they can talk to. So my question to you now, Sanjay, where do we go from here? We acknowledge that there are issues that need to be addressed. We acknowledge that we are all available to assist our country to grow and to help the athletes. We acknowledge that we need to bridge the gap. But where do you see us going, or where should we go from here?
Well, as you said, I think you hit the nail on the head, Gregory. I mean, you're on the right part. Using the veteran athletes that have the experience and bring them around the national team. Bring them to the World Championship. Just having the presence of athletes who have been there before to nurture and mentor these young athletes. And Jamaica have a plethora of stars and Olympic medalists that they could bring around. Each championship bring 2 or 3 athletes on a trip, former athletes, and let them, in team meeting, tell stories. I see the Reggae Boys did this, for example. They brought back former athletes like Ricardo, Bibi Gardner, Ultimate Butler with the Reggae Boys, former players from the '98 World Cup, and they brought them to the current Reggae Boys setup, and it was successful. It was successful for the Reggae Boys, So we could use like some of those same programs, you know, if we can bring the athletes, the former athletes to the championship to help with mentorship, assign former athletes to current athletes, you know, because as I said, you know, if the people who are in their environment, the coaches and managers and handlers are telling them the things to do and it's not coming across, bring the older veterans that they could relate to because they're a former athlete themselves, and you know we could give them our experience and tell them. Greg, you made a great point. We used to fight for so much from the J3 that we never got funding. We never got funding back in our days. We never got, oh, if you make the Olympic team, you get this amount of money from the government. We never got that. And we fought for those things 20 years ago. Now these athletes, they're getting it. They're getting it. I see Minister Grange came out and talk about each Olympic team member, how much money they're going to get, right? That's a great incentive. We never got any of that. Zero. The J3 putting up money for the relay to qualify. We never get any of that. Young athletes of this generation, you guys are getting a lot. Even though you might think it's not enough, you guys are getting it. We never got it. My last Olympics was 2008. That was, what's that, 16 years ago? We never get any of that. Everything that we attained, we got it because we ran on the circuit and we did it on our own. So appreciate what the country is offering, appreciate what the J3 is offering, and don't worry, don't get caught up so much in the federation is not doing this, not doing that. You have to do it yourself, because when you are out of the sport, when you're retired, it's what you have accomplished as an athlete that's going to help you to get a job. You're going to put that on your resume, you know? So stay focused on your brand. You as an athlete, track and field is an individual sport. Focus on what you have to do throughout your career, and that's what's going to help you to build your legacy as you go along.
Word of wisdom, my brother. Word of wisdom. I can tell you this, in my time, I always wanted to get what I could for myself, but I was a team player. I wanted the people around me to be better. I was never afraid to share information, to share myself, to share my knowledge with everyone. If you notice, during our time, Sanjay, even though we competed against each other, there was never a rival where it was so bitter that we never wanted to talk to one another. We always had that good friendship, even during the competition. Is there any final thought?
I want to let me interject on that point. I'm going to make a great point to you. My first Olympics in 2000, I was 19 years old, and you probably were what, like 28? How old were you in 2000?
I was about 27.
You were 26. You were 26, 27. When I was young, as a youngster on the 4x4, I looked up to you. When I got older at 27, 28 at the 2008 Olympics, who would I call for advice? Gregory Horton, Danny McFarlane, Davian Clark, right? These young kids now who is on the Olympic team, who are they going to pick up the phone to call? I made the initiative as a youngster on my first Olympics to call the vets when I was older leading. Who are the leaders now? Who are they picking up the phone to call? Who do they look to? Think about it, Gregory.
That's a good question.
This whole fiasco with the relay, right? Or even when they make the team, who are the OGs? Who are the legends? These athletes pick up the phone and call when they want advice. Nobody.
You know, I was
Think
talking
about
to
it.
a coach. I was talking to a coach, and he said that even though they had the book with all of the veterans, he said that they were just walking past Winthrop Graham on the warm-up area, and they had no idea who Winthrop Graham was. And in my eyes, Winthrop Graham was a legend. You know, I looked up to him. So what I'm saying is that there is a disconnect, and the disconnect is very serious, because if you look at even Kishane Thompson, when you talk with him, he could tell you about the history of the 100 meters. And what I find is that those athletes who understands the history and embrace it are the athletes will do better and would last longer in the game. The athletes who are new, who think that they are everything and more, are the athletes that will find themselves tied up in some net somewhere along the way and can't get out and have to retire from the sport before they achieve any major success. My final question to you, Sanjay, is we have all the evidence now. The days when people used to go against the J3s, the days when the J3s seem to be doing much better in terms of trying to rewrite the wrong that they did. What would be your final suggestion to, and I want you to speak to coaches, athletes, young and old, J3s, JOAs, the fans as a whole. Is there any suggestions that you have that can help us all to come together and may, play our part in all of this that is going on now?
Yeah, I mean, we have to support each other, put the country first as it relates to the national team, right? Yeah, we have our own individual thing, as coaches, as track clubs, as athletes that we look forward to in track and field. But when it comes to the green, black, and gold of Jamaica, when it comes to the Olympics and the World Championship, the federation, the JOA, athletes, coaches, there's been a lot of disunity this year. I see a lot of inner fighting in the media. We have to cut that out as people. It's very embarrassing, and it's easy for us to talk about how to be patriotic and all that. But at the end of the day, Jamaica comes first. And when I say Jamaica, I talk about the legacy of track and field from the beginning to the present. Let's protect brand Jamaica track and field. We can't mash up the thing. And we are mash it up with the disunity and throwing our dirty laundry out in public. When the Americans see this and the Europeans see this, they laugh. They're happy this is going on because it gives them opportunity now to go and win a medal. The Jamaicans are not there. They're happy. India has qualified for the 4x4.
I was hoping you would say that.
Nothing against India as a country, nothing against Zambia as a country. But come on, guys. We're giving away opportunities because we are disgruntled. Come on, we have to unite. We have to unite because when we count the medals, the country them will get the medal. When we count the medal, the athlete is getting the medal. This is more than the J3. And I don't want to hear any more fans talk about the J3 this, the J3 that. The J3 does facilitate the organization of athletes and track and field. At the end of the day, the athlete them have to go on the line and line up and make it happen. Let's not make this happen again, athletes. Do not make this happen again. We can't tolerate this type of behavior, So moving forward, Gregory, it's going to take unity and commitment from all the major players that I've just mentioned. Another thing I want to touch on, Gregory. I came out with an article the day before the relay in the Gleaner, the Saturday before. And everything that I mentioned in the article is the opposite of what the guys did the day of the relay. The opposite. Go back and read the Gleaner article. They did the opposite of what I suggested. So yes, we as veteran athletes, we don't have all the answers, but we have some of the answers. And the reason why we could give you the answers is because we have lived that road. We have the experience. We could tell exactly what was going to happen. I knew that some funny business was going to happen. That's why I came up with the article and I said what I said. I gave the J3 suggestions. I gave the athletes and the coaches suggestions. And the athletes, they did opposite of what I suggested. So let's unite as one.
And you hear it from one of the veterans, we must unite. It's not me first, it's we first. Jamaica brand is a very popular brand. And the only way it can maintain its value, its credibility, is through the unity. And you're right that when I saw what is going on the air, I felt bad that people actually sat there and didn't find a way to bring this in an office space and close it away, close it off from the media. But I think that sometimes people believe that the best thing they can do is to iron their dirty public, their laundry in the public in order to get more. But what I'm saying today now is that we should all be patriots when it comes to track and field. We should put aside these differences, as you said, and work things through. We should stop ignoring the fact that these medals, relay medals, they are as valuable as the individual medals that you won. I could not have achieved so much if I only had my individual medal. So those people who are putting it out there to make it seem like the relays are not important, they too should stop it, because that is not true. Also, the J3A and the other federations for real, they must come together and they must start including athletes like ourselves who have the lived experience, who can help to guide these younger athletes. I can tell you this, Sanjay, that if we were there, I promise you that those guys would not just get up and do that, because we would have had the conversations and they would listen, because they know the importance of the leadership that we bring to them. Because you know why? They look towards some of the American athletes for that level of leadership, because those American athletes are in the public domain, and it seems as if we are locked away somewhere and they don't see the value to us. I give you the final thought, Sanjay, and then
that's a great thought, and you're completely right with what you said. I'm going to share something before I go. Before the men's 400 finals on Friday night, I watched all of them warmed up, and when they finished warming up, they went to the bullpen to check in. I went over to the bullpen and I went inside there and I gave every last one of them a word of encouragement. I said, good luck tonight, guys. Some of them, they know who I am. Some of them, they might not know who I am. But I went in there and I said, hey, guys, go in, good luck. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it meant a lot to those guys seeing a former athlete, a former 400 athlete come in and wish them good luck, you know? And I want the Federation to listen to what me and Dr. Gregory Hartney is saying. Use guys like us who are still relevant in the space of track and field. People know who Dr. Gregory Hartney is. People know who Sanjay is. The younger generation, they could relate to us because they see us on social media. They see us on YouTube. They know exactly who we are. Use people who like us, who are relevant and they know our face to the younger generation. Integrate us in the space. Let us help these guys. Okay? And situations like this will never happen again. If we were a coach, there's no way these guys would walk out. When me and Gregory talk to them and tell them, say, "Una have to go out there and qualify this team because this is why you guys need to go out there," they would never have turned their back on the country. Them now gonna tell us, say, "Oh, they hamstring this, hamstring that, foot this, cramp that." When we don't talk to them and tell them about our experience going to war in the trenches with the Americans and the Brits and everything, every man are gonna line up and entertain the fans in the stadium.
You know, Sanjay, I have to put this in because it makes sense. In 1996, when I got the baton and fell, I had to get up. I had to get up because I did not want to let down my other three team members, because this would have been all of us first time Olympic medal. I had to get up because my country was depending on me to get up. I didn't think I had a choice because of the love that I had for my country and the love that I had for my teammates. So what you're saying, these young guys need the lived experience, because I can tell you this, Sanjay, when I was going out there, sometimes I wish someone would say, "Hey, I believe in you. Just do your best." because it would make a world of a difference. And I'm saying this, that these young athletes who made the decision not to run that day, I am sure they're going to live to regret it. I am when I say this, and I'm not saying that some bad things will happen to them, but what I'm saying here is that they gave up an opportunity to bring back a sure medal, an Olympic medal. And people are saying that we did not have the opportunity because of the 4 guys are not good enough. But think about it, Sanjay. We never had 3 guys in the same time space that was running 44.4 and better. So I know that these 4 guys, if they came together, it would be a sure medal for us. And that is something they will have to think about. I will leave you with the final word before I go, Sanjay. Is there anything else you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, just keep on working hard. I know we won't have a 4x4 at the Olympics. To all the 400-meter runners that have qualified for the Olympics, the 400 hurdlers that's qualified, go out and do the best for yourself first. Give it your all. Represent your country well. This is a legacy that you're going to build for years to come. When you have kids, you'll be able to say you're an Olympian. Let's not make this mistake again. Let's move forward. And I guarantee you, Dr. Gregory Horton, and to the fans, this will never happen again. This will never happen again because they see how much this means to the country. And fans, don't turn your backs on these young men. They're young. Encourage them. And they're going to go out there and they're going to give it their all. I hope we come 1, 2, 3 at the Olympics. I hope these guys medal. And I know Dr. Gregory Horton is going to continue to support them. I'm going to continue to support them, and fans and the country, don't turn your back on these guys. Love them and encourage them. And guys, see you in Paris. We'll be watching. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much for that thought and very, very good advice. We all made mistakes and we just have to work it through. Thank you very much for coming, Sanjay, here. May God continue to bless and keep you all safe. All right?
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
My welcome. You're welcome.